For the longest time, I never really paid attention to politics and stuff. Just didn't care. I didn't have a family that really was into it. I'd always hear about the jokes about Thanksgiving. Oh, the family comes over, stay away from politics. And I just never understood that. I was always like, I always would think, what is that supposed to mean? Like, who talks about this stuff? Does this really happen? Are people really getting all hot and heavy with their own family? Because mine never was like that. So yeah, I just never really paid attention, never had a need to, never, I don't know. Yeah, I was cognizant of things like, some internal structures of the government workings and such, like I knew the executive branch, the legislative branch, and judicial branch and such. But I didn't pay too much attention. I knew who the president was. And then, over time, it slightly started to change a little bit. I still didn't really care, but I was a little bit more aware. Like, this basically happened during Obama's days. I became a little bit more aware, just kind of by default. One, that's when he became president is when... It's not when I started college, actually. I started college in 2006. But still, I remember when it happened. And, they had his posters up in my school, the change, or whatever his slogan was. And all this hope in his picture and like the faded American flag colors, and he was a silhouette. And so you started to pay attention. Then he won, and it was like, first black president, is this going to be a problem? That's what everyone was speculating. KKK or something's going to have a problem with this. Because that's the whole propaganda machine that the country's so racist. But anyway, so I was paying attention, and then I was like, while I was paying attention to him, then it was like, wait a minute, this guy's a crappy president. I mean, his first term was just riddled with nonsense. His stupid beer summit thing he did, like, you're the president. What are you doing having people come over, hanging out, drinking beer? Really? It was so dumb. And of course, no, the media propped it up because he was on their team. And, but at the time, I didn't realize about the media's propaganda, so I just was confused why they were okay with that. Just like all his trips to Hawaii, all the time. That guy was constantly on vacation. And I always thought, well, that ain't right, because we, the people, are paying for that. Why is this guy constant? I've never been able to really get out of my area in general by my own means, because I just don't have the money to do so. But yeah, here he is, going on vacation, a la me and my neighbors and everyone else. Like, how is that fair? Like, you're supposed to be running a country, and here you are just relaxing on one of the best states, if you will. It's a hot destination spot for vacations. So, I was paying attention a little bit more just for that. I wasn't really getting into it. I still didn't really fully understand Democrats and Republicans. I just knew that there were, I knew the fundamental basis of what they're supposed to be. Like, Democrats were supposed to be a party that was like for the people, and their economics were focused on the middle class and let it trickle up, where Republicans, the fundamentals were supposed to be start with big business and support that, and it trickles down to the people. So kind of just opposite philosophies. And as such, I always thought, well, I don't care about politics, I'm not in politics, but if I were to be, I always thought I would just be Democrat, because I'm like, yeah, that would benefit me, right? I want to be on the team that benefits me. I'm just a regular person. I don't care about big business. I don't have a business. I want the benefits that are going to work for me based on the limited knowledge that I had. So anyways, back to Obama. When he ended up winning his second term, I found that to be very surprising, actually, because I thought, what the heck? Like, who did he go? I think his second term he went up against Mitt Romney, right? His first one was John McCain in 2008, and then it was Mitt Romney in 2012. And I thought, how did he lose to Mitt? Like, is Mitt really just that terrible? Again, I didn't really pay attention to politics, so I didn't really know any backstories on these guys. Then again, though, that's in line with the majority of the country. Nobody's really informed. They just go on a whim. They listen to CNN and what CNN says, and they're like, oh, that's who I should vote for. Or look at this last election. It was like, oh, I'm going to vote for this guy because he's not the other guy. No other reason why, other than that he's not the other guy. So, but anyways, I didn't realize people were so ill-informed during those days either. So, when Obama won again, I was just so confused. Like, why? He was a terrible president. He did nothing. He's had 4 years on the job, and all he's done is take vacations every single other week. Like, how does that get you? any regular job, you would have been fired years ago, and this guy gets to keep his job for another 4 years? What? So I was super confused. Now, in to Obama's credit, whatever the word is, I want to phrase this as, I will say he was a little better in his second term. By no means is he any kind of stellar president. I actually did a presidential ranking, well, kind of commentated on a presidential ranking that I found that someone else did on TikTok, and I don't remember where they placed him, but I placed him as D tier. I don't think he's quite F tier. That's like an absolute failure, like the current president. But he definitely was not good by any means. I mean, like I said, the first 4 years, first term, he did nothing. And then his second term was a little bit better. Still nothing fantastic, but at least there was a little bit of effort put in. Like, it was almost like he had an awakening, like, oh, the people reelected me. Maybe I should actually do the job. Apparently they like me, so I should do what they chose me for. But, I mean, come on. When was the whole Flint debacle? Was that his first term or second term? I feel like it might have been his second term, because I feel like when you see the videos, he looks a little bit older. So, but look at that. That was a big fail. The water's literally poisoning everyone. He just brushes it off like, no big deal. It's fine. Or what else was he a failure on? Well, I think his only success might have been the supposed capture and kill of, bin Laden? Or was it bin Laden? Yeah, I think he got bin Laden, yeah. But I only say supposed because we never actually had any hard evidence. There was never any video released, photos released, nothing. Just him standing there, and we got to just take him on his word. Oh, okay, you got him. All right, because he says so. But anyways, then 2016 was rolling around, which means his time was finally up. He couldn't try to win again and be a terrible, worthless president who does nothing for a third term, because that's just not how it works, except for FDR. But that was different because we were in World War II. So then the options became, you had on the Republican side, there was Donald Trump basically blowing everyone else out of the water, making fun of all his, if you want to call them teammates, because they're all Republicans as well, just making fun of all of them and just tearing it up, dominating and clearing a path for himself to be the front runner of the GOP. And that was interesting because it's like, Donald Trump, that's goofy. Like, he's the guy from TV. He's the rich guy with the ridiculous gold apartment or house, whatever he's got. He's the guy that's the host of The Apprentice. Like, what? This guy? Okay. Maybe. And the maybe was because he's a guy that has no reason to get into politics. He's rich. His life is awesome. Anything he wants, he can have. Anywhere he wants to go, he can go. Like, he had no reason to be president. So that means him choosing to become the president was a choice for his country. He saw it as there's wrongs for his country that needed to be corrected. And he was seeing it as no one else was doing it, so maybe I'll give it a try. And so it was like, And then you also got to think about what he did for himself. Yeah, I know. Okay, so he's not really self-made. People always like to throw the joke that, oh, well, yeah, self-made. You only got $1 million loan from your father. Okay, true, but he turned $1 million loan into a $1 billion empire. I mean, his name is well known. If it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have really known who his father was. So it's like, let's be fair. Anyone else gets $1 million loan, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to turn around into a massive empire? Probably not. So the point is if he could do that for himself, then what could he do for the whole entire country if he had all the resources of the country at his disposal? So it was kind of appealing, like, this could actually be something awesome. It's like Japan. They always call Japan Inc. because the country runs more like a business. And, like, it's just super thriving, super prosperous, and it just works. So it's like, maybe America running like a business with an actual businessman as its president, as its CEO, might make a fantastic country. But anyways, on the other side, the Democratic side, you had Bernie Sanders, a guy who's well into his senior citizen years and also has very socialistic tendencies, which are not an attractive thing at all, despite what the younger generation might think. You do not want socialism. You don't want socialism. You don't want communism. You don't want any of that nonsense. It's seen as bad for a reason. So you have him, who's basically a social... Actually, he is a socialist. Doesn't he call himself a socialist Democrat or something like that? And then you had Hillary Clinton, who, is a woman who has got pretty high offices for no merits at all. I mean, she was only able to ever start getting these offices because of her connections with her husband as being A, a former governor, and B, a former president. It's the only reason why she ever got to where she was. She was basically nothing prior to... I mean, maybe she was something like a lawyer or something, but you know what I mean. There's no reason for her to have those offices. There's no reason for her to be relevant in today's world even. But yet somehow she's holding on. She's like a Kardashian that's just from America. Because aren't the Kardashians like Armenian or something? But yeah, like they're super irrelevant too, but somehow keep holding on to relevancy. Even though they contribute literally nothing to society. I mean, come on. They're just a skanky family. Bunch of sluttish girls that are constantly with a different guy who and one of them who's famous for being, sluttish, if you will, by making that video and putting it out there, who now has had a recent controversy that there's been multiple takes, and like her mom was behind it and chose the best video to get released so that way then they could get fame, which makes that even weirder. And okay, now because they're famous enough, they've been able to make a makeup lines and all this. Okay, well, if it wasn't for any of this other nonsense that happened, which is O.J. Simpson, because their father was his lawyer, if that never happened, would they have any kind of prominence at all? Probably not. Because they're just a bunch of whores. Like... It's just O.J. Simpson basically made them. The irony there. But anyways, yeah, that's basically Hillary Clinton. Oh, my husband was president, and somehow I just was able to cling on to relevancy, and people are dumb and listen to me still. Like her stupid new show she has, Gutsy. Oh, my word. If you have not seen the trailer for that, just watch the trailer for it. It is the dumbest show possible. Like, she's interviewing all these low-class women and acting like they have something important to say and add to the culture and society, like Megan Thee Stallion. Like, she makes slut songs talking about all this stuff about her body and overly sexualized ways and stuff. That's what you're trying to put on your show? As somebody who's strong and empowering and yada yada this and that? Seriously? There's no one better that you could find. But anyways, as I keep saying, oh man, I don't want to get off topic here, but as I always say, I usually make these while I'm driving, and right now I'm behind some truck that is towing a dump truck, and I don't know what the heck's happening right now. He's pulling over. I think he's going to try to back in. How are you going to back in with this dump truck on you? What is he doing? I'm assuming he's backing in. I'm just going to sit here. But anyways, wow, this is going way more successfully than I thought it would. I should switch over to video instead so you can see this. But anyways, yeah, so there's her. And then also she's famous for all her flubs, famous for Benghazi's failure. Famous for her email scandal. I'm going to put all this stuff on a private server and then delete it all. And not only did she delete it all, she acid washed everything, destroyed everything. Yeah, that's not suspicious, but let's not look into that at all. No, that's fine, because she's on the quote-unquote right team. But anyways, so then it comes to, do we really want that as the president or the socialist as a president? And then, unfortunately, the stupid woman ended up winning the Democratic nomination. And it was like, well, that was cheating. And there's been a lot of proof of it that it was cheating. Bernie had a lot of the victories in places, but when it got called out, they chose to say Hillary instead. And Bernie just conceded. He's, too old, I guess, to be worried about fighting. But, yeah, there's video evidence out there. Lots of it. I've seen multiple documentaries on this, how technically Bernie actually won the 2016 Democratic primary, or whatever that's called. But they ended up giving it to Hillary instead. But anyways, so now it became Hillary versus Trump, and it was like, okay. I started to pay attention a lot more, because it was like, out of these two, there's clearly only one option, and it's Trump. You cannot have a massive failure like Hillary be the president. Like, that would not be good for the country at all. And basically all it would be if she did win is, oh, I'm the first woman to win. And then she'd basically be just like Obama, how he was basically like, oh, I'm the first black guy to be president. Let me go on vacation every single day. Which, in all fairness, you're the first brown guy, bro. You have a black dad and a white mom. You grew up with your white mom in your white neighborhood. You went to white schools, chose a white profession, went to a white college. Like, come on. But anyways, digressing there. So yeah, it was like, this one better not win. Hillary, she better not. And I was worried that she would win because of all the morons who were just blinded, like I said, by CNN and stuff. And, oh my God, she's the first woman. Oh! But the election actually turned out the right way, and Trump won. And it was like, holy crap, did this happen? Did this really go the right way? I remember that day. I got dressed for work, got outside. I wasn't even in my car yet. I went outside and checked my phone to see what the election status was. And it said Trump, and I was like, there's no way. This really happened? I thought for sure he was going to lose, even though he was clearly the better option. And, yeah, I even tweeted about it right away. But, then, the time passed on, and, yeah, he proved himself to be actually a pretty solid president. Despite what all the mainstream media will tell you, despite what that dickbag loser Stephen Colbert will say every single night on his stupid show, he actually was a super solid president that did a lot for this country, despite what they don't want to talk about and let the public hear about. And, as I thought, he did end up being a good president and was the right choice, especially over that loser Hillary. I mean, geez, imagine if we did have Hillary. What would have been the country? Probably the same nonsense mess it's in now, if not worse. And then today would be even worse because now you have this loser Biden just destroying it even more. So Hillary would have set the framework for destruction, and then dickbag would have ruined it. Actually, it wouldn't even be dickbag now because Hillary would be... she would have been able to... Wait, hold on. Yeah, so she would have been able to been reelected, and probably would have been reelected for no reason. Because that's typically how it goes, except for Trump, because, the Democrats have to cheat, because that's not the guy that they want. Oh, somebody that's doing good for the country and exposing all of our nonsense? Ugh. We're going to have to rig this so that way then we can get a Democrat in there. But typically, it always goes, the sitting president just goes again. They're already in the middle of policies and middle of running things, so why switch? It doesn't make sense. Just let the guy finish out. Again, it's kind of like what they did with FDR. They just let him keep going because they're like, well, this doesn't make sense. We're in the middle of war. It's like, why are we going to bring in a new guy to try to pick up? Just let him keep going. He's already in the middle of it. He's got the strategy and all this. Just finish it out. But anyways, so yeah. So this now is when I kind of really was starting to pay attention to politics. I still didn't care, but it wasn't until this absolute moron that we have, Joe Biden, came into politics that made me really pay attention and everything. And now I've even registered, and I was trying to get into the political sphere of my local town, which unfortunately was a failure because the days that the meetings meet on are the days I have my daughter, and it doesn't work. I need to be able to do this either A, if the days were different, like the days I don't have her, or B, just try again when she's a little older, and either A, she can join with me, or B, she can just be old enough to stay home alone while I go out for an hour to attend a meeting. But yeah, it really sparked me to want to get into this because I see the extreme failures that are happening in our country right now, and it's like, ugh, is this going to be the future? Like, I hope not, but me just complaining with friends and family or on these videos that nobody listens to isn't going to make any type of change. I need to be able to be in a position where I can make a change. And yeah. So, long story, backstory out of the way. What it comes down to is, I don't know if it's obvious from this video or from any other videos that I've ever made if you've paid attention to them, but, I registered as Republican because, that's another thing I forgot to say, there's an ideological shift with the parties now. It's not so much just like it used to be with Democrat Party is for the people and the Republican Party is for big business. It's also now Democrat Party is leftist liberals and Republican Party is right-wing conservative. And because of that, that's why I chose Republicans, because liberals, again, I never knew what liberal and conservative meant for the longest time. It wasn't until literally Joe Biden made me realize what all this stuff meant. But the liberals are just absolutely insane and psychotic and believe the most ridiculous nonsense and don't like to live in reality, don't listen to reality, throw a fit if you do throw reality in their face, and it's ridiculous. And I look at any liberal state too. Their ideologies are so stupid that their states are all in shambles. Like look at California. Oh yeah, that's a great state. Tons of homelessness, robberies, this, that, the other things, all the freak drag shows, all the trans nonsense. Oh, it's psychotic there. And why? Because it's a blue liberal leftist state, aka an absolute failure. Like, I am not on board with that nonsense. Plus, at the end of the day, when I pay attention to like liberal and conservative, I feel like, oh yeah, I'm way more conservative than liberal. Like, I listen to Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Brett Cooper, Tucker Carlson, Jesse Waters, Greg Gutfeld, all of those right-wing type guys, conservative type guys. And for the most part, every single thing they say I agree with. Now, here's where we get to the main part of this video. I gave this whole entire backstory just leading up to why I'm on the team that I'm on. And it's to say that although I would say I'm largely conservative, there are... Is it 2 points? It might be 3 points. 2 main points, let's just say, that the conservative... Oh, yeah, 3. One's a joke. Things that conservatives do and or think that I'm actually not on board with. And one of them that I was actually surprised is liberal. I don't know why. I thought it would have been conservative that way. I don't know. But, yeah, so... The first one is, it seems like all these conservative guys that I watch on YouTube smoke cigars. Well, I don't do anything. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I'm super straight edge. Because not only do I not do it, I've never tried it. I've never tried a cigarette. I've never tried a cigar. I've never tried drugs. I mean, geez, I barely take any kind of like over-the-counter stuff. I took Tylenol once when I had a raging cavity in one of my wisdom teeth, and I was waiting to be able to get to the oral surgeon to get it removed, and my mouth was killing me, so I was taking Tylenol just to deal with that. But otherwise, I don't take anything. Like, I'm super straight edge. So, so that's the joke one. I don't smoke cigars, but it seems like all these other guys do. Michael Knowles does. I think Ben Shapiro does. Matt Walsh does, and I'm like, I mean, okay, I guess I don't fit in with you guys because I don't do that. The second thing that is a conservative viewpoint that I don't hold is religion. I actually made a T4Cast too, talking about that, my thoughts on religion and everything. I am somebody who's very much based in reality and logic and reasoning and proof and explanations and stuff, and that is why, not fully why, but part of why I like math, because math is what it is. 1 + 1 is 2. You can't make that anything different. If I have one finger up and I put another finger up, that means I have 2 fingers up. It's not going to be 3. It's not 3, it's 2. I mean, you can change the words for what the numbers represent, but at the end of the day, it's still going to mean the same thing. You could say 1 is 3 and 2 is a billion, so it'd be 3 + 3 is a billion, but at the end of the day, I'm still holding up 2 fingers, and that still means 2, even though we just changed the words. And everything in math has proofs associated with it. And obviously, the more complicated the math, the more complicated the proof is. But there's something that's out there that backs up whatever claim is being made. I ought to know because I had to take proofs class, and it was a pain in the dick, especially towards the end of the semester when it starts to get way more complicated. But yeah, so it's super logical. It's right there. If you have a question on anything, you can look up the proof and, oh, okay, so this does work. All right. And it's not just like somebody's like, yeah, this works. No, it's proved. Yes, this works. Here's my proof. So anyways, the thing is with religion is, I don't know. There's too many variables for me that don't have any solid explanations. Like, the universe is massive. So if God's real, then where is he? They always talk about heaven. Well, where's heaven? Is heaven on earth? Is it in the sky? Is it somewhere in outer space? Like, is the universe a small chasm and heaven is outside of the universe somehow? Like, if so, though, that makes us an absolute speck. So how does that make any sense that we have any kind of significance to get up to heaven in that grand, massive scheme of things? And, like, I don't know. And then if God does exist, well, does he have a God? Like, at some point, this stuff ends. And, like, where does any type of existence begin? What defines the very first existence? If it was the Big Bang, well, then what caused that? Was that God? Okay, well, what was he doing prior to that? Like, there's just way too many questions. And, it's like, I don't know. I just think, again, if he is out there, how does he, where? Like, does he see us? They always say that he knows all, but, like, how? Where is he? How does he see us? When you pray to him, some people just pray in their head. How is he supposed to hear that? How does he hear thoughts? Or if you're praying out loud, well, tons of people are doing it. So how does he hear them all? When you go to church, how does he know? A church is just a building that a human built. So that means any building can be a church. There's nothing special about a church. But yet, why do you go to a church? Why does that represent God's home and stuff? And then all churches are different. So what? He's got tons of different houses? There's just way too many dang questions. And then the religions even. If God was real, there would be one religion, because there's one God. Like, if somebody did an autobiography on me, the story should be basically the same. Maybe there's some details left out in one version, maybe a little bit embellishment in another version just to make it sound better. But at the end of the day, they should be roughly the same, because it's me. There's one me. You can't go and make completely different stories, because then it's not about me anymore. But yet you have Ganesh, you have Buddha, you have Allah, you have, even within Christian religions, all the slightly different variants. You have some religions that say, oh, God's Jehovah. Others just go with Jesus, that he's all three. Like, they're different even within their own similarities, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. There's just too much inconsistencies, too much variables that I can't get behind religion. I don't know. I guess it doesn't help either with the people. You got the people like look at the Catholic Church. It's super famous, if you will, for having all the priests be pedophiles and stuff. And, like, that's not good. I don't want to join your organization when you're molesting kids and it's well known, and yet somehow you're able to keep going on. Like, I don't understand that either. Why is the Catholic Church so notorious for all these child molestations, and yet they're able to continue to exist, continue preaching and all this? It's weird. Like, how come nothing's been done to, like, shut down the Catholic Church? At this point, it's basically just a child sex trafficking ring. It's not about religion anymore. I mean, come on, let's be real. So why would I want to join that? Or, like, you have Jehovah's Witnesses. A, they're super culty. Super culty. And B, they're super fake on top of that. They'll pretend to be your friend and like you, but when push comes to shove, they don't give an F. They'll drop you on a dime, no problem. Whether it's A, disfellowshipment. Oh, jeez. One day they're your friend, the next day, oh, you've been disfellowshipped. Okay, we're not going to talk to you. We're not going to look at you. We're not going to anything. We're not going to hang out with you. Nothing. Nope. Disassociate. Or B, like, if you just, I don't know, something minor can happen. And maybe you're not disfellowshipped or anything, but you just stop going from hardships in your life or whatever. You don't have time for church. You just don't want to go. And they don't care. They'll drop you. Oh, while you're there, though, they're your best friend. It's a group of such fake people. And extremely culty. Like, it's weird. So, like, why would I want to be a part of that religion? There's just questions for all of these. So, yeah, long of it, religion is just too open-ended, too many questions, too many, I don't know, just too much. And then you can make weird parallels with other things, which makes it more confusing, too, like how, God is supposedly all-knowing and all this, but then at the same time, Santa is. Well, we know Santa's fake. So Is Santa's powers based on God, or is this just, one and the same, just different context? One is, oh, it's a religious thing, where the other one is, oh, it's a holiday thing. I don't motherfucking know. So that's why I just don't fall into it. It's too, I don't know. I don't know what to think. So I just think, just do your best at being a decent individual. Don't kill people, don't steal, don't anything like that, and good enough. You don't have to go to some building that's, God's house and praise something that's possibly not even there to be good. Because that's the other thing, too. You get these people who do go to church every Sunday, but then they're like total pieces of crap every day during the week. And it's like, well, what's the point? Why do you go, there's some major dickbags that I used to know that went to church every Sunday, but it was like, really? Monday through Saturday, you're a piece of trash. You think because you go to church one day a week that's going to save you, that's your salvation? Like all of a sudden now you're a good person? No, you're not. You're a piece of crap. So why waste your time going to church on that one day? Oh, I go to church. What, just so you can say that? Like it's a positive point on your life resume? I don't know. And then think about this, too. Then there's the maybe not context, but juxtapositions. Like, Jeffrey Dahmer. His grandma was super religious, super into that. And he was living with her temporarily and killing people in her basement. And wasn't he, even eating some of his victims there, too? So it's almost like, well, what's the point of her being super religious for? She's into all this, but all this evil is happening in her basement. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it puts a stain on her. She's trying to be a good person, but it's just a weird contrast. It's like you have somebody who's trying to worship God, but then you got Satan in the basement. It's just, I don't know. So it just makes it almost comical. Just the weird difference, the weird clash. I don't know. You know what I mean, though? You know what I'm trying to say? I hope you do. So anyways, yeah, I'm not into cigars. I'm not into religion. And then the last thing that conservatives are super hardcore on that I just do not understand at all why they care so much is being pro-life. I listen to so many of these people. Like I said, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, all of them. And they're just so hell-bent on being pro-life. And I just don't get it. The way I see it is, if you don't want to have your kid, who cares if you make that choice, I try to listen to their arguments too, and their arguments just never seem strong enough to me. That's always just kind of okay, you have an argument, but that's as far as it gets. It's just an argument. Cool. Basically, I just don't understand why the hardcore conservatives care so much about somebody else's developing baby. It's weird. This kid, this person, chances are very high you're never going to meet them in general. And this double, well, when I say the people, I mean the baby that's growing. Whatever. I'm not trying to have a crappy little bit right here, but like I said, I'm always driving. Right now I'm trying to leave a place, and I'm trying to take a right, and there's cars coming, but then all of a sudden they turn last minute with no signal, so I'm just whatever, I'm cutting people off then, screw this. Anyways, I was trying to say, my whole bit that I'm saying about the people you're never gonna meet. So conservatives fight hard for pro-life. But it's okay, if there's some woman that wants to get an abortion, A, are you ever going to actually meet her? Does her terminating her pregnancy matter to you at all? Do you know this person? No, you don't. A lot of these women you don't know. You're never going to meet them. What does it matter what choice they make? Then let's take it into the context of that growing baby. Are you ever going to meet that baby? No. Or would you have ever met that baby? No. Would you have ever met that kid? No. Would you ever meet them as a teenager? Probably not. As an adult? Probably not. So what does it really matter? How does it affect your life if somebody wants to terminate their pregnancy? I don't get it. It's cool, whatever, do you. Now, to some regards, I do align with what the conservatives think, because the liberal agenda, straight up, is just anything goes. I mean, I think they're getting so crazy. It's to the point that you have until a month after birth that you can abort. Which, seriously, you just heard what I said, right? That's not an abortion. That's straight up killing a baby at that point. So that's just psychotic. Like, whoa, if you had the dang kid and decide, I don't want this, like, just put it up for adoption. Don't make a doctor or something kill it, because now you're straight up killing a baby. It has been existing. It's been being bottle fed and stuff. It's been growing. It's been wearing clothes. Like, it's weird at that point. But I think anything like first trimester is fair game. It's basically nothing at that point, you know? At the most, what does it look like? A head with like a fishtail? Like, it's not really humanoid. It's just a thing. It's, you know? And for the most part, a lot of normal people, when they do get a pregnancy, it's like within the first month. You're like, oh crap, I'm pregnant. So it's really nothing. You know, it's the old adage, it's just a cluster of cells. Basically. So, like, what does that really matter? It's not a living thing. It doesn't have any kind of... It's not sentient. It doesn't have any kind of consciousness. It's not thinking. It's not existing. It's not going to know that it existed. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, you killed me. It doesn't know. It has no sense of me. It's just a thing. At that point, it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's like a growth. So that means it's like a tumor. Well, you get rid of a tumor and don't care. So I don't understand the conservative thought on why they're so hell-bent on being pro-life. Couple side notes. One, this is the one that I said I didn't realize was liberal to be pro-choice. I thought conservatives would have been pro-choice. I don't know. And I'm so used to it now that it's the pro-life stance that they have that I can't remember what my logic was before. But when I found out that liberals were pro-choice, it just seemed weird. I guess because liberals are so psychotic and crazy and make no sense, that the pro-life stance would be the way that they go, because it's so crazy and makes no sense. So for them being pro-choice, it was like, wait, what? You have one sensible ideology about you? Huh, that's weird. And then the other thing is, even though I'm saying all this, at the end of the day, the whole Roe v. Wade that got turned over, that I do agree with, because the Supreme Court is supposed to be there to regulate constitutional issues, which the Constitution is the basis for our country, the founding document, however you want to phrase it. So women being able to get abortions, that has nothing to do with the Constitution. That has nothing to do with the basis of the country. That's an individual choice. But that's, you know what I mean? That doesn't matter as an overarching theme for a country. Like, that's kind of weird when you really break it down and think about that. Oh, this country has in their regulations that you can kill your unborn baby. Like, it's kind of weird. So when Roe v. Wade got overturned and then became a state's issue, I fully was behind that. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That's weird that it ever became a country issue. It's not a country issue. It's a local issue. So if the state wants to allow abortions, cool. If they don't, cool. That's their choice. So, but a lot of people freaked out about that. Oh my God, you're infringing on women's rights. And speaking of this whole women's rights things, it's always the weird ones that have no reason to worry about it, that are the most hell-bent on it. Like, senior citizen women. There were senior citizen women out in Rhode Island the other day protesting about, keep the state pro-choice or something. And it was like, what do you guys care? Like, you're beyond menopause. You've been in menopause for 10 years now. You can't get pregnant. Like, what are you so worried about? The overturning. It does not affect you at all. Or like it's these other, like these liberal freaks that, you know, blue hair. Oh, I'm non-binary. I'm a non-binary lesbian. Oh, even though you're claiming you're non-binary, you said you're a lesbian, so obviously, duh, you're a girl. Even though you don't want to admit that. But like, A, you're saying you're a lesbian. You can't get pregnant. This doesn't affect you. Why are you protesting it? And B, even if you're straight, you're significantly overweight, you have a terrible style in clothing because, you know, you're one of these weird liberal freak girls that wears the shorts, overalls with like some ridiculous striped shirt and hideous striped socks. Then you got your terrible makeup, your dumb blue hair. Like, no guy wants you anyways. So don't worry, you're not gonna get pregnant. It's always like the weird freaks that are complaining about it. It's never like, well put together, highly attractive women outside, mid-20s, low 30s, the range that actually would be getting pregnant, who are just, oh, well, this infringes on my rights. No, it's never them. It's always like the outskirts that have no business worrying about it. But why is that the case? Because those outskirts are the how do I want to phrase this? I don't know, the scum of the society. Those people that I described that would be decent and put together and well presenting themselves, those people have their life figured out. They're not sleeping around with this guy and that guy, or trying to sleep around with this guy and that guy, and oops, I'm pregnant, gotta get rid of it. No, they have a boyfriend and or a husband. Well, not but you know what I mean. A boyfriend, or he's their husband. And if she gets pregnant, she's like, okay, this is cool, I'm with this guy, we'll start a family. And chances are, if she gets pregnant, it was on purpose. It's not something that she's like, oh my God, I need to get rid of this. Basically, the people that are most upset about Roe v. Wade being overturned are the people that have no morals, that have no, self-control, that have no anything going for them in life. They just live in the moment, and they live to some weird, ridiculous extreme that any responsible adult would not be living at. And so, oh my God, you're taking away my rights to kill a baby. What if I get pregnant over this bender I'm going to have over this weekend at this swingers party? I'm going to try to get with all the guys. Well, maybe if you weren't living a lifestyle like that, you'd be fine. The other thing that I think is stupid, too, about them crying about Roe v. Wade being overturned is it's like, look, if you do want to be responsible-ish, there's still ways to not get pregnant. Duh. It's called take birth control. It's called condoms. It's called abstinence. I mean, you don't have to be getting dick every day. But, it's called, I don't know, maybe just try other options. You still have hands, mouth, and a butt. Just saying, they cry about this nonsense, oh my God, you're infringing on my rights. Are they, though? Are they? Or are you just being way over dramatic because it's easy to throw a fit? Because, actually, no, that's not easy to throw a fit, because you have nothing else to worry about in your life. That's why you also claim to be non-binary and trans and this and that and the other thing. And that's why you put the effort in to look like a freak with your blue hair, but at the same time can't put in any effort in to shave your armpits because, you have no real problems to worry about, so you make up a whole list of problems. And now, Roe v. Wade being overturned, even though there's 4 billion solutions to the problem, you're just going to stick with focusing on the Roe v. Wade one and crying about it, acting like it's the end of the world. And, anyways, I feel like I went on some massive tangent there, but these people are just so dumb. They don't use their brains at all, if they even have one. They don't ever use logic. And the most ironic part is they're always quick to say conservatives are stupid. And it's like, really? The side that believes that men can get pregnant is claiming that the side that knows only women can get pregnant in every species is the dumb ones. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. We are the dumb ones. The ones that do research, the ones that pay attention to things, the ones that speak facts, they're the dumb ones. I know. Because, being non-binary is a real thing. You can exist as not male or female. Yep. You're not one or the other. Nope, you're neither. You're nothing. I'm a they, them. You're plural. Oh, yeah, you are plural. You're one person, but you're plural. But I'm the idiot. Oh, okay. Man, I did a TikTok video. I forget what it was. It could have been on Roe v. Wade, but the comments in there were so stupid. I didn't get a lot. I mean, I'm not huge on TikTok. Neither am I huge here. But some of the contacts were like, your ignorance is showing, blah, blah. That one's not even the worst one. That one was just like, okay, yeah, my ignorance, sure. I know. There's 425,000 other options to go about this, even though Roe v. Wade got overturned. But I'm the ignorant one because you can't see past, oh my God, Roe v. Wade. Something that should have been never constitutional in the first place. Wah, you're ignorant. Wah. Yeah, that's why you're crying about it? Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm so dumb. But yeah, what was I don't know. There's some other comment. Maybe it wasn't on that video. Maybe it was another one. But these people, someone said something like, oh, conservatives are so dumb or so illogical or something. And it was just like, is this serious right now? Are you trolling, or are you really that dumb that you're putting a comment like that to something that's intelligent that I produced? Okay, cool. I didn't respond to any of these because I'm like, what's the point? What's the old adage? those who waste their time trying to convince those who know nothing are never going to be successful, or something like that. It's along the lines. Basically what it is, in regular words instead of wisdom language, it's, there's no point in arguing with somebody who's clearly dumb and doesn't want to live in reality or listen to facts, because they're never going to listen. So you could sit there and spew fact after fact after fact and try your best to get this knowledge in their head, but and have proof upon proof upon proof. But if they don't want to hear it, they're not going to hear it. It's kind of like this whole situation with how the left wants to constantly act like Trump is such a bad guy and so terrible and needs to be indicted and this and that and the other thing. You could have proof upon proof upon proof that he hasn't done anything wrong as president, or even just as a civil member of society, and you could have it stacked up in front of these idiots. But nope, CNN one time said he's bad, so that's all these people are going to hear. No, Rachel Maddow's personal opinion was that Trump did this, so that's what it is. I don't care about all that research and documentation and facts and video evidence and everything else that you're presenting in front of me. Don Lemon said. So yeah, that's why I didn't bother engaging with those comments, because I'm like, whatever. It's kind of like this other moron. There's a lake in Webster near where I live. It's Lake Chagagog, Manchagagog, Chabanagogmog. And it means you fish on your side, I fish on my side, nobody fishes in the middle. And some moron, that's a video I made on TikTok, because somebody said, hey, can somebody pronounce this for me? So I did it for them. I did a stitch and did the pronunciation for them and told them that that's what it means. And, they were like, oh, cool, thanks, man. It was almost like an instant reply from them. They saw my stitch right away. And then some moron comes on and answers, puts a comment under my video. Oh, you should do some research first. And they put up like a hand, like a police officer saying stop, that hand emoji. Indigenous people have said that that's not what that means, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, really, bro? Let me guess. First off, I went and spied on their account just to see what kind of person this was. Of course, they got pronouns in their bio, and there's they, them one. So I'm like, oh, well, that tells me everything I need to know right out the gate. And their profile picture avatar thing was something that said BLM, and it had the trans flag in it, and it had all this other nonsense. And I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, you are a very low intelligence individual, just pretending to be white knighting as somebody who's far superior than you truly are. And let me guess, you probably live in California and have no idea what you're talking about at all. I've lived minutes from the lake my whole life, but I don't know what I'm talking about. People that live in the town also say the same thing. Friends and family say the same thing, but I've got no idea what I'm talking about. And I need to do research on something that for 34 years has been in my backyard practically. I know, Mr. California, you know what you're talking about. Yeah. So anyways, I responded something sarcastic along those lines. And of course, the dickbag never answered, which I didn't really want to have an argument on TikTok. I don't care that much. But I feel like it just proves a point. Like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about, you moron. And you just think you're cool running your mouth. But then when someone calls you out, because you're an idiot, you don't have anything to say, because you don't live in a world where there's facts and logic and reason. You just like to spew any trash that comes into your head. And then when someone calls you out on it, you have nothing to back it up. So then you have to just, admit defeat and cower away like a little baby. Anyways, man, this tangent on the left, it's all because I'm talking about abortions here and how I was surprised that that's a left idea. But yeah, so back to the main topic of what I was supposed to be talking about, which is abortions. The thing about being pro-life as well is I feel like there are so many situations where getting an abortion really is like a valid option. Like, I get it if you're like some girl that's constantly in the hospital and once every other month getting an abortion. Okay, maybe the doctor should say something like, hey, you want me to prescribe you some birth control or something? Like, this is getting ridiculous. Like, you can't just you can't just keep going out and getting pregnant and then using this as your solution to as birth control. Like, this isn't right. 1 or 2, fine, but you go through at least 6 a year. Like, I can see something like that where it gets a little crazy and the doctors aren't for it. But under normal circumstances, there's plenty of instances where it's valid. Like, let's say a girl gets raped by her uncle. It makes me think of that movie, what was it? I think it's part of Split. That girl, isn't that the backstory that her uncle used to rape her? So let's say you're in a situation like that. Your uncle rapes you, and now you get pregnant. What, you're telling me that girl has to keep that baby. She has to bring that baby to term. Like, that's traumatizing enough that your uncle is raping you. Now you have to have something grow inside of you that's like an evil seed because you're being raped by your father's, let's say father's brother. Again, I'm just thinking a split. It was her dad's brother that was molesting her. So, that, like, what? And then now you have to go through double trauma. You have to go through the trauma of knowing that you've been raped, and then go through the trauma of developing a baby and giving birth to a baby that you don't want, you never asked for, that should not exist. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Then think about it from the perspective of the baby. Even if you go all the way to term and then you're like, I just don't want this kid. I didn't ask for it. I don't want it. It's not a good situation. This child's father is my uncle, and I didn't bring this on. He just violates me. So then you say you put the kid up for adoption. Now this kid's going to grow up. Okay, he's going to be with a family that's normal, regular husband and wife. But then every kid eventually wants to know who their parents are, obviously. So then he's going to look into it and then find out, wait, what? My dad was my mom's uncle and he raped her? I'm a product of weird incest rape? And now this person knows that about themselves. Like, how do you think that's going to make them feel? Like, really? I'm a product of a vile act that should have never happened. I should not exist. And then, there you go, abortion. You wouldn't have existed. But if there's no abortion, then that means you do exist. And, like, now that's how you have to grow up. But then at the same time, you're probably going to have problems. I don't mean mental problems. I just mean, like, physical, because it's incest. Always incest situations are always weird. Like, they make those jokes about the families. Well, not jokes, it's just real life, like the Bush people in Virginia or whatever, how, they're all incest, and look how they are. Like that family, oh man, what's the family that they did the documentary on? Vice did a documentary on this family, backwoods people, and they're all weird. One of them doesn't even know how to talk, he just barks. It's like he grew up mimicking the dog, he just barks. But they're all weird, and it's because they're all a product of incest. Well, so that means this guy's probably going to be weird anyways because his dad is his great uncle. It's weird sounding. But, I should have gunned it. The light was changing yellow and I'm like, should I stop? I need to be on the other side. That's my problem. I'm on the wrong side right now. So I need to take a left, but I'm in the right lane. Ugh. And usually this is not a problem, but I'm also not driving around this time normally. It's usually later when there's less people driving. That's okay, I'll just have to race this guy. Oh god, I wasn't ready. The light changed. Was not ready. Oh, my car is so weak. I went from having an 8-cylinder car to like a basic 4-cylinder. No power. Used to tap the 8-cylinder and I'd be flooring it. Now it's like I floor it and I barely move. But anyways, yeah, situation like that. So what, you're saying hardcore conservatives still say, nope, can't have an abortion. The baby has to exist. Why? That's a screwed up situation. Or just think about regular rape. Now, from what I understand, from a medical perspective, if a woman is raped, it's a very low chance she'll be able to get pregnant as it is because the body kind of shuts down. It's not properly engaged because she's not wanting that. So it's a low chance, but still, what if it did happen? She gets raped, she gets pregnant from that. What, now she has to keep that? I don't even know who the father is. I don't want to know the father. This guy violated me. I mean, I guess in one positive, you could use the baby's DNA to track down who the dad is and then arrest him for raping her. But still, like, what? You got to keep that. And then the same situation as my first scenario. Now this kid's going to grow up. He's not going to have any challenges like incest kids would because he's not a product of incest. So now he's going to grow up and be like, oh, my dad is just some dickbag that raped my mom. And my mom obviously didn't want me because she was just trying to leave work or something, I don't know. Or what if some kids are just being irresponsible and they get pregnant? The girl gets pregnant, young couple. Oh, they're supposed to keep that? Well, they're not old enough to work, so now either A, that comes down to their parents to raise the kid, which possibly those are crappy parents. That's why the kids are fooling around in the first place. So then all that's going to lead to is that kid having a kid at a young age too, and now you're just making a weird cycle. Or B, that those kids end up going like on the state. I don't mean that they're in the system or anything. I just mean on the state, like they're getting welfare and all that to support this child because they're too young to work. Like let's say they get pregnant at 14, 15 is what I mean. Still in high school and stuff. Now they're on the state. So now what it becomes is now everybody has to pay for that kid. It's money coming out of taxes and stuff to pay for that kid. Like, is that right? Is that fair? Really hardcore conservatives? Is that what you want? Like, I'm mostly on your team except for this nonsense. Like, that doesn't seem right either. At least the abortion option, A, gets rid of the problem, so to speak, and then it's on them. They're paying for that medical. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they have Husky or something, some kind of state-funded healthcare, but still, it's gonna be cheaper then, I guess. How much is an abortion? I don't know. Let's say it's a couple thousand. Well, that's less money than what you're gonna need especially the first few years of the kid's life with diapers, formula, clothes, this, that, the other thing. So, that's another situation. Or what else? Like, there's plenty of situations where it really is valid to go through with the process, and it's just, I don't know, it's just weird. Like, the conservatives are so hell-bent on being pro-life, and it's just, every time I listen to an argument, like from Ben Shapiro, when he's at like one of his rally things that he does at a school or whatever, and somebody's saying about their stance on being pro-choice and he's pro-life, it always just sounds like, I get that he thinks he's winning the argument, and I get that he, I don't know, the whole point of the clip is for it to be, framed towards him. But in my opinion, it always seems like he's losing. Like, his arguments are always just like, okay, but why do you care so much? Like, I mean, that's not his arguments. That's what I'm thinking while I'm listening to his arguments. Like, why do you care so much? Like, who cares? If she's pregnant right now and wants to get an abortion, what do you care about her for to get that abortion? What do you care about her unborn baby for? Like, it doesn't affect you at all. You don't know them. You don't know that child's father. You're interacting with her right now on a political debate, and that's it. You'll probably never see her again in your life. Like, what do you care for? It doesn't matter. So, I don't know. Those are the three things that I just can't get behind. For the most part, I'd say, yeah, I'm pretty much conservative. But those are the three things. So I guess I'm not 100%. Maybe I'm 90%. So, not centrist, though, either. But those are the three. Just, I don't smoke cigars. That's the joke. I mean, I don't, but the joke is that that's a conservative thing. I'm just playing around, but that's just what I've noticed that these guys seem to do. But yeah, I'm not all about religion. I don't go to church. I don't care. I mean, I try, like I said, I try to just be good. I mind my own business. I do my own thing. I don't start trouble with others and stuff. And the whole abortion thing, I'd have to say I'm definitely pro-choice, which is exact opposite of what conservatives say. And yeah, that wraps this one up. And until next time, I said see ya.